Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm talking about the differences between intuition and gut instinct and all the other types of psychic abilities in between. So let's get started. There are many different definitions and schools of thought on intuition, gut instincts, clairvoyancy, clairsentience, and clairaudience. And I'm just going to share with you my definitions as I've come to understand them from what I've been trained in and also the research I've done on my own through reading and connecting with others and through my connection to my higher self. So if you follow another school of thought or you totally disagree with what I'm saying today, that's completely fine. You of course need to have your own understanding and your own connection to your own intuition and or gut instinct. And if you do agree with what I'm saying and if you do resonate with it, then that is also fantastic. So do let me know by leaving a comment below. So there are several different types of psychic abilities or ESP, and this can be categorized into intuition, gut instinct, clairvoyancy, clairaudiency, clairsentience, and claircognizance, and being an empath or a highly sensitive person. So we will start with intuition. So what is your intuition? Well, your intuition is an inner knowing. It's an inner guide that tells you things that perhaps you wouldn't know otherwise. It usually comes out of nowhere and it's like a bolt from the blue, and you just realize and hear or understand something that you didn't previously know. Our intuition can also be a conversation with the universal truth and love of the universe, source, spirit, God, goddess, whatever you may call it. And therefore when we tap into that, it's almost like tapping into a radio frequency. All of these abilities are usually more connected with the upper chakras, so the crown, the third eye, the soul star, sometimes with the throat. So how would you experience intuition? Well, because it comes to you as an inner knowing, you would just suddenly know something that you didn't know before, and it wouldn't make any sense where it had come from, but you would just be able to say something. So perhaps you're talking to a friend or a client or a colleague, and they say something about a friend of theirs, and you suddenly might get a burst of intuition or a message for that person or about that person that you can share with the person you're with that you previously didn't think of or know anything about. It just comes to you out of the blue. Another example could be your own personal conversation with the universe. I'm going to give an example of myself here, but last year I parked my car where I've always parked it at home in order to go away for a funeral. And when I parked it, I looked at the car and I thought to myself, should I move that to another area which is slightly safer and more out of the way, just in case anyone hits it? And then I thought to myself, nobody would hit it. We live in a small area where only a certain amount of cars can come in. No one in the history of parking here has ever bumped into each other. It will be fine. So there was my intuition saying, you should move your car. But my ego was saying, that's come out of nowhere, that makes no sense. And literally the next day when I went away, one of my neighbours smashed into my car and it was actually written off. So had I listened to my intuition in that moment, I could have moved my car. I would still have a car. So sometimes it really pays off. In fact, every time it pays off to listen to your intuition, and that's why it's important that you understand what it is and when it's coming in, and don't let your ego get in the way like I did. So ways that you can tap into this intuition are through meditating. That's a really good way to start to connect to your higher self and to the universe and connect to that radio frequency of intuition, which is just this constant loving chatter that you can tap into to receive messages and give and share those with yourself or with other people. Another way is through journaling. Automatic writing is a fantastic example of connecting with your psychic abilities, especially with your intuition or your higher self, or God or goddess if you feel like you're channeling some other being. And when you're automatically writing, you go into a sort of meditative state, a trance if you like, and then you just let the pen free flow and you just write. It doesn't have to make sense, but that can be another way that intuition is coming through. It might come out of the blue, you might not understand what you've written, and then later on you might go and consult what you've written and think, oh, actually all of that did happen. That was my intuition speaking to me. In terms of your soul plan chart, if you have, for example, a 5, a 10, a 9, a 1, a 19, a 22, a 14, These are all extremely intuitive energies. So if you have these energies, you may well have this innate inner knowing, and you may wish to connect with that more, and you may wish to hone that gift and perhaps train in something to hone your intuition so that you can really learn to trust and connect with it. But usually the biggest obstacle with intuition is just trusting it, because it comes out of nowhere, because it comes out of the blue. We often just question it because our ego thinks, but that doesn't make logical sense. And our soul is saying, actually, you really need to know this for yourself or for someone else. But our ego is saying, where is this coming from? Why would we think this? And therefore, it's really important to learn to trust that when it's coming through for a specific reason, and you need to honor that and respect it and work with it. Then we have your gut instinct. Your gut instinct differs from intuition because this is more of like a warning system and a guidance system in the body. So this usually centers around the lower chakras. So we're talking about the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus. It's those lower, more guttural chakras that are warning you physically to take note of something. So this could be in business. This may be that you're about to sign a business deal with somebody, and your gut is saying, I'm not really sure if this is the right person, or maybe this deal isn't quite right for me. Maybe we need to make some changes. But your ego might come in and say, but of course it's fine. This is a fantastic opportunity. You're going to make loads of money and get loads of new people in your life. But actually your gut is telling you something, and then later down the road you find out it's true when the deal doesn't go well or when something happens. So again, it's learning to trust your gut instinct and differentiate between the two. Your intuition is going to come out of the blue, and it's going to be like it's come out of some other realm. You're not going to be able to make sense of it, but your gut instinct is going to be saying to you, I don't have a good feeling about this. Trust your feelings, trust yourself, and know that this isn't right for you, or if you're feeling that it is right for you, trust that as well. So if we were looking at soul plan again, this would be somebody who is more likely to have a 15 in their chart. This is very much connected to your gut instinct. So if you do have that energy in your soul plan, you definitely need to learn to trust and work with your gut. I actually have a friend who recently, unfortunately, experienced this, where she met somebody and she said, on the surface he seems lovely, we're getting on really well, but my gut is telling me that this and this isn't quite right about him. And I said to her, well, you know, obviously listen to your gut, but at the same time, if he is a nice person, just go with the flow. And unfortunately, her gut was completely right, and he wasn't the right person for her. So it's really important, again, to listen to your gut instinct and trust that it is guiding you. It is a warning system. So it's more likely to be, if you're about to approach something that perhaps isn't safe for you or isn't right for you, then your gut is going to say to you, this isn't right. And again, it's connected to those lower chakras, which are more about personal power and survival. So it's more about, is this right for you? Are you going to survive and thrive in this place? If so, great. If not, then we're going to warn you about that. Then we have clairvoyancy. Clairvoyancy is very much connected to your third eye chakra, so the center of your forehead. This is very much about seeing with your inner eye into other realms, or mediumship perhaps may come through with this. You may see ghosts or other beings that have passed over, or representations of them. But it can almost be like having a TV screen in your third eye, and you can't make sense of it at all, but you might just suddenly see something, get a flash of something, and know that that's the case, and then you can share that with yourself or with other people, depending on who the message is for. It's always important to discern and filter what is necessary and who it's for. So clairvoyants are more likely to see spirit, and that is how they will understand it. So if they were meditating, they'd be more likely to get visions and see realms or archangels or spirit guides or something around them. And in terms of soul plan, you're more likely to be clairvoyant if you have, for example, an 8 in your chart. This is very much that insightful, psychic, possibly even mediumship energy. Then we have clairaudience. So of course this is very much about hearing, and the throat chakra is connected to the ears and the chakras in the ears. So you could argue that this is technically connected to the throat chakra. It's still going to be connected to the upper chakras though. And this is about hearing spirit. This is about hearing a voice. So it could be your own higher self, it could be God or Goddess or the universe, it could be one of your guides, it could be somebody you love who's passed over. But it is about hearing messages. In fact, a great example of this is from the film Eat, Pray, Love, where Elizabeth says that she heard a voice calling her name and telling her to go back to bed. That's an example of clairaudience. It's hearing things. So if this person were meditating, then they might hear a message and receive it that way, and that might be something they need to express, which is why it could be connected to their throat chakra. And in terms of soul plan, clairaudience is more likely to be connected to the energy of the 9. That's very much connected to the quality of hearing. Then we have claircognizance. Claircognizance is a clear knowing. So this is more likely to be somebody who's going to download things or just know them. You might ask them a question and they can connect to spirit and immediately know the answer and just say to you, yes, you should take that leap of faith. No, you shouldn't sign that business contract or go to college or go traveling. Yes, you should get married. Although, to be honest, if you have to go and see somebody about whether you should get married, I think the answer is probably no. But these people just have an innate knowing and an innate understanding. And it's almost like muscle testing, which is where you can say a question and pull against your closed finger with your other finger and ask, is my real name Marilise? And if it doesn't open, then the answer is no. And if it does open, the answer is yes. But they would have that innate knowing in them already. It's already inbuilt with them. So these are very powerful psychics who definitely need to hone their skills and work with that a bit more. And if we were to look at this in terms of soul plan, I would definitely say this is somebody with a 5 or a 10. They just have this clear knowing. And then we have clairsentience. Clairsentience is an inner clear feeling. So they get feelings about things. These are the type of people who you can send them a text and they will feel the energy of your text and know if you're feeling okay that day. And they might text you back saying, you've just texted me about this, but actually you don't feel yourself today. Is everything okay? This is somebody who has clairsentience. So if this person were meditating, they might have a feeling of what's going on, as opposed to seeing things or hearing things or just an innate knowing. They might feel it. I think clairsentience aligns quite well with being an empath. Obviously, being an empath is about feeling and connecting with other people's emotions and just knowing things and being able to help guide them. This is a fantastic energy to have if you're with a 2 in soul plan and perhaps you're looking to become a counsellor or a coach or a therapist of some sort. Having that ability to empathize and connect with and feel what your clients are feeling can help you to guide them and help them to see things where they haven't been able to see them previously. So if you resonate with any of those abilities I've mentioned, then I would definitely recommend getting some form of training or doing some research into it a bit more so that you can hone it. Because if you're a highly sensitive person and perhaps therefore you're an empath, you may wish to hone that skill so that you can differentiate between your emotions and other people's emotions, and that you can also learn how to protect yourself and perhaps even give guidance or help other people when they are struggling with their emotions and don't understand or know what to do. So I hope that you've enjoyed today's video and it's given you something interesting to think about. Do let me know if it's been useful for you in the comments below, and I will see you in next week's video.